How do I age well? It's something I often ponder on. My name's Rosaria Barretto, and I want to find out what it takes to live a healthy and happy life as we age. I'm a clinical exercise specialist, and for the past 5 years, I've worked with nearly 1,000 older adults, and as a result, have had the chance to talk to a diverse range of happy and healthy, and not so happy and healthy people in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I want to know what it takes to be able to look back and confidently say, I lived an amazing life. Why not join me on this exploration on what it takes to live happily and healthily and learn how to age well? So today's podcast is going to be all about dealing with life transitions and understanding the psychology around life transitions, coping strategies for change, and a lot more. So the reason I decided to produce this episode was because myself and my husband and a few people around us are going through life transitions, and it made me think. We really become consumed by the change involved with making decisions and the change involved with moving through a new stage of life. So for me, I'm expecting a baby. It's been a hard 5 months since finding out, and it's been a complete whirlwind. Exciting, scary, brilliant, terrifying, all of that in one. And it makes you think about your future, your current situation, and you just go into overdrive. For my husband, he's thinking about careers and what he wants to do with his future and all of that good stuff, but alongside having a baby. And that is also a big change for him. And unfortunately, but fortunately, now I hope you know what I mean by that, life is a constant flow of transitions, and each transition presents a unique set of challenges and opportunities. Whether, as I said, we're changing careers, experience the end of a relationship, moving to a new location, having a baby, or simply navigating the inevitable process of aging. All these transitions can evoke a complex mix of emotions: stress, excitement, grief, fear, hope, worry, and so much more. And these shifts can really trigger both emotional and psychological and physical sometimes reactions that, if not addressed, can lead to long-term distress. I want to explore the psychology behind the life transitions and practical coping strategies to help myself and anybody listening navigate through the changes with resilience and emotional well-being. So, transitions are often experienced as a series of stages. And understanding these stages can provide insight into why we react the way that we do during times of change. The first point I want to make is around the grief of change. So whether change is voluntary or involuntary, there is often a sense of loss involved. Even positive changes, such as a promotion or a new relationship or pregnancy. And I'm going to use pregnancy and career as the main topic areas just because it's something that's very close to me right now. So, for example, having a baby is one of life's greatest gifts, but finding out and going through that process of finding out that you're going to have a baby is extremely challenging. And I definitely felt mourning of my career and this dream life that I had in front of me. And that sense of loss is completely bewildering because you feel guilty. You feel guilty that you're sad about the fact that you're going through this change, but at the same time, you're so excited that you're about to have a baby. So even these positive changes can lead to a sense of grief or mourning for our old life or the life that we envisioned ahead of us. And this can become very tasking because we are wired to find comfort in familiarity. So losing something that represents a part of our identity or stability, whether that is a job, a home, a role, it can bring feelings of sadness, confusion, and anxiety. This sense of loss is really normal, but dealing with that is really, really important. And I will go on to that at a later stage. We've also got cognitive dissonance, which means struggling with contradictory thoughts and feelings, which I briefly just touched upon. Our life transitions can create cognitive dissonance. When we experience contradictory thoughts or feelings about change, then we feel unsettled. For example, you might feel excited about moving to a new town or getting a new job, but also anxious about leaving the old life and your established social circle. For example, you could be thinking about a new job opportunity and you're sad to leave the people behind that you've worked with. You feel loyal to them. You feel like, is this the right thing? Because they've been there for me for the past 8 years, that kind of thing. And the tension between these opposing emotions can cause mental discomfort. And cognitive dissonance often motivates us to seek harmony. But in the case of transitions, this may mean reconciling conflicting feelings and adjusting to a new reality. So, just a side note, research does show that cognitive dissonance can be alleviated by finding ways to align your thoughts and actions, such as through rationalization or reframing the situation in a more positive light. We then have identity shifts, reconstructing who we are. Transitional periods often involve an identity shift. I can tell you that this is what is going through my mind and my life right now. So this shift, who we are, may no longer align with who we are becoming. And this can happen when we retire, when we leave a relationship, when we become parents, when we become grandparents. And the psychological task during these times is to redefine our sense of self. The fear of losing identity or purpose can lead to existential anxiety or confusion. So as we change through certain stages of life, we're confronted with the challenge of identity versus role of confusion. And in midlife, for example, this often comes up in the form of a midlife crisis, where individuals question their life's meaning and accomplishments. But it doesn't just happen in midlife. It can happen in early life and it can happen in later life. So what coping strategies can we use for life transitions? Well, while transitions may be psychologically challenging, there are several ways to cope and even embrace the change that come our way. So here are some strategies that are rooted in psychological theory that can help you manage stress, adapt, and thrive. One of the first steps is coping with any transition. Sorry, say that again. One of the steps in coping with any transition is to acknowledge and understand your emotions at a deeper level. So studies in emotional regulation have shown that suppressing or avoiding emotions can increase psychological distress. Instead, allowing yourself to feel your emotions without judgment helps process the change in a healthy way. The ability to regulate our emotions is tied up to psychological flexibility and the capacity to be open to unpleasant feelings and move forward with your goals despite them. So mindfulness-based practices such as meditation, deep breathing, and other similar activities can really help cultivate this mental flexibility or psychological flexibility. I know for me, meditating in a certain specific way can really help, where I incorporate deep breathing and I incorporate things like words of affirmation and really delve into my limiting beliefs and changing the way I frame those in my mind. And it takes work, but it does really make a difference. And everybody's different. So the way that one person meditates can be completely different to the way that another person meditates. And I think it is worth putting in that effort to understand which ways work for you. Some people like journaling about feelings. I really hate writing, and I find journaling such a task, and it's just something that doesn't work for me. However, when I'm in a real crisis mentally, I do write down my feelings, and that does help. Also, talking to a therapist can be a significantly powerful way of transforming mindset. And practicing mindfulness can help process emotions in real time. So mindfulness techniques like observing your emotions without judgment also reduce emotional reactivity and can create space for more thoughtful responses. Transitions can trigger negative thought patterns such as catastrophizing, like this will never work out, or it's all or nothing thinking, I'll never be happy again. I'll never find the love of my life. I am never going to become successful. I'm going to be a terrible parent, all of those things. So cognitive restructuring is a technique from CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, that can help individuals identify and challenge these irrational thoughts. And research does show that reframing negative thoughts can alleviate anxiety, depression, and stress. By changing our interpretation of a situation, we can reduce its emotional impact. So when you notice your negative or irrational thoughts, practice reframing them. For example, instead of thinking, I'm too old to start a new career, try reframing it as, this is an exciting opportunity to learn and grow. Finding the silver lining in a transition can really help shift perspective and empower you to take action. A lack of structure can make transitions feel chaotic and overwhelming. Establishing a new routine, whether it's waking up at a consistent time, exercising regularly, or creating time for hobbies, can really provide a sense of stability and purpose. Routine can really help anchor us during periods of uncertainty, and it can also foster feelings of accomplishment. So these small changes that you make in your day-to-day life throughout a transition are super beneficial and can act as a therapy in a way. For example, I make sure that I'm always exercising no matter what turmoil I think I'm in. I consistently exercise, and that basically makes everything a lot easier for me. So research on habit formation shows that small, manageable actions can reduce stress and improve mood, especially when we feel a lack of control during transitions. So what you can do is break your day into predictable blocks of time that allow for self-care, work, social activities, and personal growth. Create small, achievable tasks each day that can help you regain a sense of control and provide psychological comfort during uncertain times. We are all social beings, and during times of transition, we need support more than ever. Studies show that social support is one of the most effective buffers against stress and anxiety. A social network not only provides emotional comfort, but also provides practical assistance and different perspectives on the change that you're experiencing. It can really be hard to put yourself in social environments. I know, I feel like the last thing I want to do is go and see anybody when I'm feeling extremely low, experiencing transitional change, when you're anxious and you're depressed. But forcing yourself into these situations can actually have a much more positive outcome than that initial short-term feeling of stress. So by doing this, you get this feeling of being understood and supported by others. And this reduces the psychological impact of those transitions that you're going through and actually strengthens resilience. A side note here, social connectedness has also been linked to longer life expectancy and better mental health outcomes. And there are lots of documentaries about this, which I definitely encourage you going to watch. I think I remember hearing that the number one kind of, not metric, but thing you can do to optimize life expectancy is embracing social community. And that beats things like diet and exercise. So it just emphasizes how important social connectedness is. So please don't hesitate to reach out to friends, family, or even online communities expressing your feelings and receive validation that you can make yourself feel less isolated and more grounded. We can be really hard on ourselves. Treating ourselves with kindness is life-changing. And if we don't, we can be our worst enemy. The change that we go through can often trigger self-criticism, especially if things don't go as planned. For example, I'm just not good enough, or I am never going to be good enough, or everyone else is successful around me, or achieving these things, these life accomplishments, and I'm never going to be like that. It's a bit of catastrophizing there as well. So this self-compassion is a practice of treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer somebody else. When facing a transition, practicing self-compassion can allow you to be patient with yourself and embrace the imperfection of the process. And this does take time and it does take practice. So self-compassion involves essentially three key elements: kindness, a sense of common humanity, so recognizing that suffering is a part of human experience, and mindfulness. And it's been shown to reduce and improve emotional resilience. So instead of saying this is a tough time and stopping there, why not say this is a tough time and it's okay to feel upset. I'm doing the best I can. I only relearned this recently. Like in the last 2 years. Before that, I used to be horrendous to myself and force myself to do things that I didn't like. But now I'm much better at setting boundaries for myself and for others. And by speaking to yourself like this, you're able to increase your sense of self-acceptance and can actually help you bounce back more quickly from setbacks. Now, goal setting is a word that really triggers me because it was drilled into me during my GCSEs and my A-levels, and I hate the word goal setting because goals can often never be achieved. But I think just having an idea of what your life looks like can make you or support you with life transitions and setting yourself an end achievement, maybe. Maybe that's a better way of saying it. Might be a better way of putting it. So finding purpose in that change. So transitions often offer the opportunity to reframe life's purpose, whether it's setting a new career goal, cultivating new hobbies, or focusing on relationships. Creating a meaning in the midst of change is essential for our psychological well-being. So by setting this outcome, we can really move through this transition with a sense of direction. That growth mindset, which has been popularized in the last kind of 20 years, emphasizes that the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed is really crucial to coping with transitional change. And this mindset can encourage people like us to see transitions as an opportunity to learn, grow, and build new strengths. So reflect on your core values and what you want your life to look like and how you want it to evolve. Break the values into tangible goals and make small steps towards them. You can also track progress, which can build confidence and also help you with gratitude and feeling more in self-control. More in control. There we go. So while life transitions are inevitable and often challenging, we also have the opportunities for self-growth and self-discovery. By understanding these psychological aspects of change, we can adopt healthy coping strategies, such as emotional regulation, reframing negative thoughts, seeking support, and practicing self-compassion. You can not only survive, but thrive during periods of transition. So don't forget that change is not something that we need to fear, but embrace. Each transition is an opportunity to redefine who we are, to learn new skills, and to align your life more closely with your true values. And your values may change over your lifetime. With the right mindset and coping tools, we can face life's transitions with resilience, grace, and confidence and get through them and come out the other end a lot more positive, happier, and grateful.
My name's Rosaria Barretto, and thank you so much for listening to How to Age Well. If you've enjoyed the podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you could take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback means so much and helps others to find out about how to age well.